watoi wa marasta wangezaliwa na madredi. We are living in the dark, na siwezi nyamaza nikiona mavijana tutapotea, kwa sababu tutatoa wapi viongozi wa kesho? Hapana, viongozi wa leo. Thank you.
Nataka kuona watu wangapi wanajua that this is how you're supposed to do it. That is amazing. Freddy, watu wafanyangi hivi. This is how you're supposed to do it. Sindio?
Yes.
Thank you so much. How are you? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, like a very, I wouldn't say a long time, because I've actually been seeing and watching the interviews all along.
Thank you.
So, yes.
so not a minute for you to us,
exactly.
But yes, for the people who watch Morning Cafe, they should tell you that at least they know this guy. This guy has been here, but on a totally different conversation.
Exactly.
It didn't appear as though you could do some nice of spoken word.
Yeah, sure.
Why spoken word? Why poetry? And today, as we talk about poetry for peace and poetry for a purpose.
I think the main reason as to why I ventured also to poetry is it is something that began when I was still back then in high school. Not only in high school, actually in primary school. However, during that particular time, I had not like yet ventured so full in this, because back then I'd just do poetry for fun. I'd do spoken word for fun, and most of the time I'd be invited to different places to speak. Only when I was in high school, I remember my English teacher at one particular time, she like came to the class and told me like, Shirima, there are festival going on. Would you love to go and perform spoken word? And I was like, Miss Jayfanya spoken word, I've never done spoken word, so why am I going to do this? But only because they noticed that I have like good diction of words, and also like I'm so vocal. But I decided after high school, once I saw a lot of things that are happening in the community, we have different types of artists. We have artists that use music to advocate for different things. We have artists that use music as an activist. But I decided, because I'm not more like a singer and I know how to talk and I can also write, why shouldn't I use poetry and spoken word to informally advocate for social changes in our society?
Daniel Shirima, somewhere in between, he introduced himself. Daniel Shirima is one Young World Peace Ambassador 2022, and in a bit he'll be telling us what that is all about. But the first time I saw this young man, and I think I've watched him grow, I still feel like you're young, but all the same, I like the tremendous growth. And yes, the first time I saw you performing some nice spoken word, and I thought, wow, that is amazing. And I think sometimes we look at our tutors and our teachers and we just think they're just anybody and somebody somewhere in your life. But I think I agree. This teacher directed you to the best direction ever. And look at what you're doing.
Exactly.
This particular one, this piece that you've just presented to us, peace, what informs that angle?
I think during the period, this 2022, during the election period, there's been a lot of noise on the social media platforms, and most of the people were actually fearing that we are going to again witness the thing that happened in 2007. We all remember the incident that happened in our nation, whereby the post-violence election. And so at that particular time, I'd love to also appreciate NCIC, that is the National Cohesion for Integration Commission, and because they are amongst the people that actually played a major role in actually like building me up into the spaces of peace building, because for all their activities, I've been like, during the 2022 election period, I've been like the youth peace ambassador. So we'd go to different events, and I use spoken word and poetry to advocate for peace. So you've asked why poetry again, because I think we are living in such kind of a generation, and this is amongst the conversation that I always ensure to have with different people. In our generation that we're in right now, we've seen a lot of people coming to give lectures on peace, because peace is something that you can't talk about like one day, because my own perspective of peace might not be your perspective of peace. But we all know that art is something that brings people together. Spoken word is something that brings people together. I've been to different places whereby I've been facilitating peace building initiatives, but when I go there and I try to explain to people, peace is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I go into the layman's language, like what we are told by the curriculum of peace building. But the time you'd go to such kind of a place and you like tell people peace now using spoken word, you'd actually see that the message will get home. And even tomorrow or even next year, you'd go somewhere and I meet someone and they tell me, Shirima, I remember 2017, I saw you performing a certain piece about peace. And I'm like,
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah. And so we
Yes.
come all the way to you traveling, and this one particular one that you speak of one young world peace ambassador. Just what is this? I remember the other time we were having a chat. I mean, sometimes I check on your social media platforms, and I realize that you do a lot of activities. There's this one. I don't know whether it was a Facebook. It was a Facebook post that was making rounds, not yours,
Okay.
by some white lady that was speaking about Shirima, and I thought I know this name, and then she was just talking about some of the things that you told them at some space somewhere abroad, as to the fact that, you know what, we all do not come from the same space.
Yeah.
If we were from the same space as you, perhaps we'd be doing greater in life.
Exactly.
We'd be great people in life, but such is not what life presented us with. Could you tell us something small about this? Is it the Shirima that I am talking to that she was referring to, or somebody else?
I think for those people that actually know me, I've been for a long time jack of all trades, but jack of all trades in a positive manner. Because one thing that actually motivates me on a daily basis is seeing a transformed community, and seeing a community whereby the youths are given spaces, and the youths are also like part of the decision making, are being involved in decision making processes. So that is what I actually like did venture on. In my community, where I've always been proud to tell you I'm coming from Majengo. So Majengo being an informal settlement, there are a lot of things that people have already perceived about that place. Because I remember at one particular time I was like there on Google some few time ago, and I wrote the name Majengo. Before even the description of where Majengo is, on the top search you'd see terrorism in Majengo, you'd see crime in Majengo, you'd see, and this is something that actually like broke my heart. And I decided, because of that, why shouldn't I like work with the youths that are in our society? Because we have a lot of youths that are actually talented. We have a lot of youths that, but their talents, they don't have a platform in which they can like grow themselves.
Yeah.
So in my network so far, we have a network of about 500 youths. And these 500 youths, most of them are involved in different things.
Great.
You'd find others are involved in filmmaking. You'd find others are involved in the latest community-based organization radio that we formed, that is KJ Radio. You'd find others are involved in mentorship, and this is something that grew our area in such a great growth, because it like brought light once again in our society. You'd see most of the youth that were involved in crime, others that were involved in violent extremism, they found purpose in what they love doing. One thing, I'm a firm believer of, there won't be any day like you'd hate what you love. You see, I can force something on you, but I won't force it for a long time because I'm forcing on you. But if this is something that each and every morning I wake up having determination and dedication to do, I will definitely do that.
We'll definitely do that.
Yes.
I am interested in hearing your journey the other day, but should we say that I want you to tag along some friends that you went to represent Kenya with, so that we can have a proper conversation as to that and what teachings then you bring home.
Yeah.
That should be sometimes next week, but one
is okay.
We look forward to that, right?
Sure, yeah.
You know, we're talking about Peace with Fredia here. Fredia is my DJ. We're always here on a Feel Good Friday, and because we have about 3 minutes to go, we and your Peace Ambassador, ambaye sasa, you know, you can evidently see. And I think I was telling him about your story and how you're always out there to, you know, speak peace. And we said that even after the election, let's not assume that it's all calm.
Yeah.
And we spread the message of peace.
True.
And therefore, Shirima, thank you so much for gracing the set this morning. I would have loved to hear so much so of your art and you know, of your poetry, as well as your, you know, spoken word, but all the same time really flies. So then we have to close it at that, not in totality. We have cakes.
Yeah, you better read their names.
What do you have the names there? I haven't checked, but all
There are many. There are many.
we have them, yeah?
Yeah.
No, we'll check them out on our social media platforms, because Kivo tells me we have to be out of this set any moment from now, but all the same, to appreciate what you're doing. Your parting shots, Shirima.
My parting shot actually is, I'd love to appreciate each and every one that has been part of my process, part of my growth process, and to tell people that as how our former president used to say, is that peace starts with you as an individual. And also I'd love to appreciate appreciate there are people watching all the way from the UK, and also my voice coach, that is Beatrice. Beatrice, I'd love to appreciate you, and also every fan that is watching this morning, they decided to tune in. Asanteni sana.
Lots of numbers. We should have stayed here longer, but all the same, we'll be having more and more of Shirima. You know, this is his home, and so he knows any moment he would pop in,
Sure.
and we'll have a session. And like you rightfully put it, because he speaks hugely about peace, we constantly have to do this, and therefore it does not end here. My name is Linda Alela Budesco Fredia, as well as Daniel Shirima.
See you next week.
See you next week. We'll be following up to check on the people who've sent their